Hi. So, before I get started on the tacos for today, I'm going to show you the ingredients. Now, the very basic ingredients, and you're all probably going to look at this and be like, duh, but... So, we've got tortillas. It's a 16 pack because leftovers are wonderful. You don't want to have a leftover of I don't have enough tortillas, so you got to put just the meat and the cheese on the thing. I've got Mexican style shredded cheese because I'm lazy and, well, I'm just lazy. Also, my fresh lettuce, pre-shredded lettuce. 98 cents at the store, it's not a big deal. And then, pound of beef. Actually, this is 2 pounds of beef. And I'll be cooking this, and you'll see, technically what's all behind it is cooking this. Because, Mexican cheese and... just in case you want to mix the cheese your own, let's see, it's Monterey Jack, mild cheddar, queso quesadilla, and astudero cheese. These are the 4 cheeses that are in there. So, I'm going to put these back in the fridge. And we'll get cooking here on the tacos. Okay, yeah, this is the unveiling of the meat. That looks gross. Positively gross. It's 2 pounds, 10%. It's you'll see the you'll understand the 10% here in just a little bit. And basically, I just pick up this tub of meat and throw it in the pan. Just like that. There's nothing too much special to doing that. Also, because it's 10%, it doesn't have a lot of juice to sit there and work in later as I make it. So I throw in effectively about 6 ounces per pound of beef of salsa. Aaron said, oh, maybe we should go a little bit light because that's a little spicy. I'm like, no, it's not. So you just dump it on. And then, medium high. And just heats up. And one of the key things I learned from a cooking show to get this all broken up, a potato masher. And you just squish it all through. Oh, that sounds appetizing. Oh, look at that. Yeah. I should probably let that heat up a little bit. Okay. So we'll come back when this starts cooking just a little bit more. Okay, now that the burner has been heated up, you just sort of keep stirring it around. Making sure that you've got this nice little puddle of juice at the bottom. That's kind of the key. You just keep mixing it around. Getting it all evenly heated. This is the slow time where it takes time to get all the heat in, and you just mash it back down into a big giant patty. And it starts bubbling away. Okay, so real quick while this is bubbling away and doing its cooking meat stuff. Even right now, this is a good smell-o-vision. Oh my lord. If we had smell-o-vision right now, you guys would eat the screen. Anyways, the reason why our butcher at Freddy's, the beef that comes in the in the actual casing is only 10%. But I can get it at exactly 2 pounds because the prepackaged stuff that's in the cooler, right behind, is like 1.14, 1.07, or it's up into like the 3 pounds, and I'm like, that's not what I want. Exactly 2 pounds. So, and 2 pounds gives me enough for two late 20s, early 30s males, and some leftovers. And the reason why, and with the 10%, that's why I added in the salsa. Adding in the salsa gives more juice, because as I cook this down, the meat is constantly frying in this juice as the juice is boiling away. And all those tastiness, all that tastiness from the salsa and the meat to an extent, all that fat that comes out of there, there's not much, but all that fat, it just sort of cooks down to the very bottom. Cooks down, cooks down, cooks down. And you just boil it away. The meat will be long cooked before you get done with this. But here's where the kicker comes in, and that's why I've been saying, is you cook all that juice down. If you have to turn the heat up just a little bit to get it to go for expeditious sakes, sure, go ahead. But you just let all that fat, juice out and boil down. You pretty much are going to get down to the point of frying the meat on the pan. You will just boil it all away. But the water goes away, the fat, and all the tastiness from the salsa and the meat and that just bloody extract that everyone likes in a good juicy burger, all that stuff bakes to the bottom. And I'll show you what you do with that when I add in all the taco meat, or I add in the taco seasoning and the water and stuff. Another good thing to do is to occasionally push all the meat to one side. Just sort of like bold up, push it over, so you get all the juice on one side, so you know exactly how much you have left. I still have, well, a fair bit left, so this is going to be cooking for a little bit while. We'll come back when this actually cooks down a bit more, and I'll show you what to do when adding in the taco seasoning. Okay, I'm just going to kill some time because it's taken a while to cook it down and just chat to you. So, taco seasoning. I have two different packets. I have Taco Bell brand and Kroger because, well, I ill-prepared because I usually have taco seasoning in the pantry, but so I have to use two kinds. Pretty much just buy the same kind. It's not a big deal which kind you get, store brand, whatever's cheapest. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just, you want Taco Bell brand or do you want this stuff? So the issue with mine currently is the fact that the Kroger brand wants the 2/3 cup of water per the packet. The Taco Bell one wants 1/3 of a cup. Well, that's easy math. That's 1/3 of a cup, or that's 1 cup. However, I'm going to be putting in 1 cup and 1/3 because when it gets further down, I'm going to have a screaming hot pan. And there's going to be a lot of water that just flash boils right off. And the meat's going to be really dry. So, be a good time to explain. When you're cooking the liquid down, as I do, a lot of the directions say drain the meat, to drain it. I don't drain it, mainly because that's a hassle. That's a really big hassle. And they're like, go drain your meat. Then you have to worry about hot grease and putting it in the sink or putting it in an empty can so you don't throw it in and clog your drains. No. This is good home cooking. This isn't, the way it's supposed to be done. This is the way I cook them. I cook all that juice out and I boil all that water away. All that liquid away. And I just slowly... Here, let me adjust this real fast and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm picking it up and I'm pushing it up and I'm letting it drain down and seeing I have very little left. As you can see, it's just barely any, but you want to get that just cooked away completely. And you can see the beef is nice and crumbly. That's what's good about using a potato masher versus anything else, because you just squish it through and you circle it back around. Any large, you do this enough with the potato masher, you know how to use it as the tool. You got a lot of steam in your face, If you wear glasses, you might have to take precautions, but, and you just squish. And if you got, occasionally if you want, give it a little shake, see if you got any big chunks, and then just squish them out. And pretty soon, Once you get up there, you've got a screaming hot pan with barely any juices. And all that tasty, tasty goodness. The meat's so screaming hot anyways, if you spill a little bit out, just pick it up real fast and put it back in. So you've got a screaming hot pan right now. And there is just steam coming out of this thing left and right because the meat is starting to dry and fry itself because there's all that stuff. Now what you're doing at the bottom, is I learned this from watching some cooking shows, is you're deglazing the pan. And a lot of the cooking shows, they use some sort of alcohol to deglaze. I don't, because I don't drink beer at least. I sometimes will have some really fancy foo-foo drink, but we'll get into that another time. Right now there is like no liquid at the bottom and the meat is starting to fry. This, you throw your water in. And while that's boiling, open up packet 1. Bloop. Open up packet 2. You can do this beforehand if you want. It's not necessary that you do it now. You throw that on. Throw them in the garbage. And then use the tongs on this and you slowly agitate around. And you just mix it all in because your beef should be down to a crumbly point. And once you get it all mixed in, you scoop it around. You make sure all that stuff that built up around the side, it's nice, and you just fold it in. You fold it in. And it's nice and boiling because you're still stuck. You're still up there, up at medium. Well, my stove goes from low 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 high. And I'm at 6 that I've been cooking most of this time. I vary the temperature as I'm going. So, as you can see, the meat is boiling away, starting to actually look like taco meat. But then you turn the heat down. I turn it down to about 2. Just for the hell of it, I pull it off the burner while the burner cools because I've got those kind of burners. So it doesn't cool down quite quickly, and we're good. And now you're just letting this simmer. Letting it simmer. And this takes, well, the package says, no, hang on, let's tilt this thing back up here. The package says about 10 minutes. And that's that. You've got about 10 minutes just to sort of let it simmer. And this is when you've got all that dried stuff on the bottom. The water seeped through the bottom and pulled it back up. So you have highly condensed spices and meat juice and that goodness. And it just fried to the bottom in a thin layer. And then as you're taking this, the little tong parts, you're scraping it back up. If you want to use a spatula, go ahead. It's a little bit more efficient. But you move the whole thing around and you scrape anything you can off the side. You want to put it back into the taco meat. And now, this is just sort of an eyeball it. I don't really like juicy tacos because, well, yeah. We'll let this simmer and show you what it all looks like here in probably 7 minutes. So what it looks like as it simmers down. You just want to put it on a low simmer, just something to keep it warm and like bloop, 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 bloop. Stirring. Well, things would say stir occasionally, but mine's like, once it's down low enough and you know it's not going to burn to the bottom anymore, you're pretty good at just sort of Yeah, raking it back and forth. One of those Japanese gardens with the little rakes. Just back and forth. Back and forth. You just let it simmer because it's marinating. I'll be back. Okay, now that we're almost done with the meat, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what it's like as I fold it back and forth. It's just kind of got this creamy sauce around it. See, it's just all sort of glooped together. And this is good for a little spoon, maybe a slotted spoon. But it'll stick inside your taco just fine. You can use this in hard shells. I use tortillas, as I said earlier, because, well, they fold around things and you can make them bigger. But I'll show you exactly how much this can make here in just a little bit. Set that to the side. Okay, so as you can see, I make 2 at a time. I just fold them in half, and I put the stuff, and then just sort of add toppings as you see fit. Lettuce, that over, cheese, and it's in the refrigerator. Cheese. And there you have it. Nice tacos. I'll put the ingredients list in the description. And after all that, and I'll put in how much everything cost. So you see how much all this made. And how, because that's fairly big. I'm going to have trouble wrapping those. I mean, they're absolutely just tasty beyond all belief. I mean, how big they are. It's gonna take me a bit to eat those. So, yeah. Once you're done, you can turn the meat off if you want, because no big deal. The meat will stay warm. And then you just put toppings on it if you want. You can put sour cream on it if you want. Aaron doesn't like sour cream, so I don't pull out the sour cream. And you just roll it up. You're all good to go. Have fun.